If you have any phase issues with your drum kit, you might not be able to get the fullness from the kit that you want, and probably never make it sound right either. Here's a way to check that phase before it begins to cause problems. So the first thing we're going to do is just take a quick listen to the drum kit. Doesn't sound too bad. We really don't have any EQ going. The only thing we have is a little bit on the kick drum right now. Other than that, it's pretty dry. It's just a straight ahead drum kit here. The first thing we're going to do is check the phase. And what we're going to do is solo up our overheads. And then we're going to solo just the kick drum first. And now what we're going to do is come over here to this EQ. And we're going to change the phase. Watch. This switch right here is a phase switch, and we're going to change the phase and see if we can hear any difference. I don't hear any difference, but sometimes that's because the levels aren't matched. And the real way that you hear this, the levels have to be the same. So in other words, the levels of your overhead and the levels of any other drum have to be about the same for this to work. Now let's just adjust this a little bit. Okay, still nothing. So we're just going to leave it the way it was before and move on. Now let's go to our snare drum. We have an over and an under snare drum mic in this case. Let's listen to both of them together and see what happens. But in order for us to change the phase, we'll have to put an EQ or something in there. Sometimes you can do it on a compressor, and sometimes you can do it on another module plug-in. But in this case, we'll just put our standard compressor in and see what happens. Whoa, that made a difference. All of a sudden, we picked up the low end. Listen again. That's going to make a big difference in the sound. And you can tell just by flipping the phase there. That makes a big difference. It could have happened because of mic placement. It could have happened because a mic cable, the phase was reversed on it. Could have been a number of things, but it doesn't matter what caused the phase issue as long as we fix it. So now let's move on and we'll go to our hi-hat. And once again, let's just put an EQ in, and the only thing we're going to do is flip the phase. Now, again, what we're looking for is how full the sound gets. Usually when you're in phase, all of a sudden the sound is going to get bigger and fatter. And when we're not in phase, it's just going to sound thinner. So we always go for the position of the phase switch that gives us the most bottom. And in this case, once again, we're out of phase. So we're going to just keep that EQ in there just for the phase swap. And now let's move on to the low tom. Do the same thing. Let's add an EQ and have a listen. Now we can hear the difference there. When I switched the phase out, all of a sudden it got thinner, which is what we don't want. Listen again. Okay, let's go to the next tom. Once again, the way this works is the tom or any other track has to be about the same level as the overheads in order for us to hear the phase differences. So we can adjust it either up or down, doesn't matter which way, as long as we adjust it. And then again, after we figure out the phase issue, then we can readjust it back to where it was. Okay, I don't hear anything there, so that's good. Well, let's move to our final tom. So we know we don't need an EQ here either, but we know we need it for sure on at least our top snare drum and the hi-hat. Now let's listen when we take these out of solo and listen to the whole kit. Okay, let's listen with our EQs bypassed. A lot more bottom. Now listen with the rest of the band. Makes a really big difference. So this is the first thing you should do before you start to EQ anything, before anything happens. Put up your drum kit, put all the mics up, and then go flipping the phase. And you'll find that as soon as everything gets in phase, it's just going to sound bigger and fatter and warmer than it ever did before. That's the overhead phase coherency trick. In order to make sure that all of your drum tracks are in phase, do this before you even begin your first drum mix. First, solo the overhead and kick tracks, and make sure that you set them to approximately the same level, or else you might not hear much of a difference. Now engage the phase selection button on the kick channel or on a processor on the kick channel. Select the position of the phase switch that gives you the most bottom end. After you've finished with the kick track, follow the same procedure for all the other drum channels in the kit.